Alright everyone, and welcome back to this channel. Today I'm gonna show you how you can color grade your footages using DEHANCER in DaVinci Resolve. If you never heard about DEHANCER is basically a film-like color grading plugin that you can download on your applications. In this case, we're gonna concentrate on DaVinci Resolve. DEHANCER is a very powerful tool, and I've been using it in the past couple of weeks, and I found it very interesting and very easy and intuitive to use. And you can create your film look like in just one note. Yes, one note. Before we start this tutorial and we go deep into the color grading, I want to just announce that if you want to subscribe to DEHANCER and use DEHANCER, you can use this code that's gonna give you a 10% discount. The last thing that I want to mention is that DEHANCER also has a iOS app that you can download on iPad and iPhone. It's very useful for if you want to do some practicing on color grading and you don't have your computer, you just have your iPad or your phone, or you just imagine you're flying and you're traveling somewhere, and then you just don't want to pull out your computer, but you still want to do some practice, or maybe you want to test some footages, and so you want to pop some footages into the iPad or iPhone, and then you just want to color grade and see what that's going to look like, and then you can replicate everything later into your timeline. The interface that is on the iOS app is actually complete, and it has all the type of different film look that you're going to use in the prints, and all the other effects that you also find inside the DaVinci Resolve program. And then there is DEHANCER Online. You can go to your browser and type online.dehancer.com, and it's gonna open a page, and you basically can drag and drop, open a image, the JPEG, TIFF, whatever. You basically have a ridiculous amount of presets that you can use. So you select which one you want, and you can do some micro adjustments. You can just you can change your exposure, your contrast, your saturation. This is something you want to have a very quick editing, you don't have time, or you are not very familiar with Lightroom. You can just have those really well done film looking presets that you can just use them for your photos. So let's not lose more time. Let's go into DaVinci Resolve, and I'm going to show you how you can color grade your footages. So now we are in DaVinci Resolve. As you can see, I have 4 different footages here. 3 have been recorded with the Canon R5C, and one is a Apple ProRes in Apple Log, and I use an iPhone 16 Pro just because I want to show you also how good it works with the iPhone footages. So let's go to the first one. Let's go to our color grading panel. Let's create a node, and let's go and look for, let's search here, and there we go. And let's pop this in. Once the DEHANCER is in the node, we're just gonna go all the way down and select to disable all the tools, and we're gonna basically start from 0 here. So something that I really like about the DEHANCER right now, instead of going to color space transformation and then select that and then choose the different settings to convert our log footage into Rec 709, we can basically go to the source here and then choose camera, and this is spectacular. I love this thing. You go and select your brand, which is Canon for me, and then go to R5C, and I'm gonna say that I shot this one in C-Log3 Cinema Gamut, and boom, this is already converted in Rec 709, and I really like this. Here we have some technical aspect of this is basically affect the actual footage of bringing down the exposure and the temperature, and then you're gonna see later there is also some exposure adjustment into the print, but this is more for a creative style, not much about technical. It has different behave in a different way, so I actually am okay with the exposure of this clip. I might just gonna bring my temperature a little bit warmer, just a touch. Then the next thing that I do, I prefer to go to the print first and then select enable, and then also select the analog range limiter. And here, let's go to the Kodak 2383 print film. As I said before, in the print, we just have more like a creative, different tools that we can change. Like for example, if I select the target white and then I drag them towards the left, it's just gonna make my white a little bit warmer, or on the right a little bit cooler. So I just want to give a little bit more of a warmer effect here, and then just bring in just a very little touch down the exposure. the color density, I just gonna bring it up as well a little, around 40, that's fine. And our next step is gonna be our film. So let's go and enable these, and you see that that applies some film on top. And let's go and select here, and you can see there is a lot of options here that you can use a different film. The only thing that I don't like about this, that I maybe like I wish they would change, is that if I select, instead of just select, like when I just open this, if I go down, if it would just give me a preview of the film that I'm applying, instead of going and selecting each single one, even if I go down like this and then I have to press return. I find that it would be more useful if we have that preview going on. So here, let's go and select Kodak Vision 50D, which is also one of my favorite. And we're gonna just leave everything here. Now, next step, we're gonna work with the film developer and the film compression. Let's enable those two. And at first, we're gonna like increase our color boost just to bring some saturation up. And then I am going to increase the color density around 65. There is all of these like contrast boost and all of those tools that you can use, but I personally like to work between DaVinci like tools and DEHANCER. So I'm just gonna do this next step into down here, because I feel that I have more control over the image. So one thing that I do usually, as I see there is some really crash shadow here, and I want to bring a little bit more of information and kind of like adjust like the exposure of the midtones and add a little bit more contrast. So let's do that. Let's bring some contrast up, just something around here, and also going to bring my pivot down around 350, 356. That's fine. And then I'm going to go to my lift and bring those up. And as you can see, all those informations are back, but now we have a very faded image. So we're gonna go into gamma, and we're gonna drag gamma down to bring back the exposure where we need to be. And as you can see, we brought back the exposure where we gain a lot of information back in the shadow. So then we go to gain, and I'm just gonna like increase again a little bit more. Here you just do the adjustment that you need to do, and if you want to like change some of the color, like if you don't like exactly the skin tone, let's go, we can select it and just like go and correct our skin tones and stuff like that. But let's keep going and let's see what the enhancer also has to offer. We have the color head, which is similar to these those color wheels in our primaries. Let's not use those now. Let's go to our film grain. Let's enable it. And as you can see here, we have different type of film grain. We have 8mm, which is a very strong, and 1635. I personally like the 65 ISO 250 because it's subtle. Here you can also change the amount. But just to consider that when you select an amount that it's 0, you still have a little bit of grain inside the image. So if you disable and then you enable, even if it's on 0, as you can see, there is still some grain going on. So you can bring it to 0 and still have some little grain. Let's go down to halation. Let's enable that. And as you can see, again, we have a different type of halation. We have from 8mm, they're very strong as well. Like with the, especially with the no ramjet. I usually use the 35mm Super 35 not ramjet. That's what I like. And I bring it down. I like to bring it down to just don't be super strong. And we can see that is affecting mostly like the highlights area, the skin tones. Let's disable for now, and let's go on and let's go to bloom. I really like this one. It's basically a glowy effect. So if we enable it, you can see that here we're getting some glow. Let's go disable and enable. And I usually like to use the 8mm here just because I like the extra glowy effect. Then we have film damage. All those things are optional for you, like for in general, like if you like to use it, if you want to give some film damage effect, if you want to give like this effect of some old memories of this damaged film, and they're actually really good. I actually like those, but I'm not gonna use them now. Then you have the film breadth, the gate wave, and then here on the overscan, if you enable it, you basically get those gates around. That is also here a bunch of different type of gates that you can use. You can change the shape, you make it bigger, um, change the exposure, and also on the exposure, you can keyframe the exposure. So if you go at the beginning of the frame, like let's say here, right, and then you go a few frame forward, then we change the exposure that it's gonna basically move. All right, and then we have the last one is the vignette. Another thing you have here is a LUT generator. Use the LUT generator if you want to like save some of those LUTs. I prefer to go and right click to the image when I especially when I like some of the color grading. I like to grab my still, and then let's say that we remove this node and let's remake another one, and then I go to gallery, and then I go and select the one that I just saved, which is this one, and I'm gonna apply the grade, and boom, we have basically all, if we have like all the nodes, um, that would just like appear here, and then you can just change the adjustments. Let's save this one first, and then let's go on into our next footage. Let's do the same process. Let's go and create a node, pop the answer, go and choose the camera. This is again a Canon R5C, and again it's a C-Log 3 Cinema Gamut. Let's also disable all the tools. There we go. And then here, for in this case, I have a little bit of overexposure going on, so let's bring that down a little bit. And let's go and select our print. Let's go enable and change also the range limiter. Let's go to, let's use again this 2383 film print, and for now I'm not going to touch anything here, and go to film, enable the film. Let's go and select something different this time. Let's go with Astrum color negative 125. I really like this one too. Let's go and do our film developer and film compression. Let's boost the colors, and also let's bring our density up. Let's actually use the color boost here. And that's it. It was that quick. It was super, super quick. It was like less, like I guess like a minute. Let's go to the next one. And again, the answer, let's pop in. Let's go to disable all tools. Let's go and select our camera. Again, let's go to choose camera, Canon, and R5C, and C-Log 3 Cinema Gamut. There we go. And here we now have our Rec 709 footage. So let's go again into print. Now let's choose a different print. Let's go glossy paper. Let's go in our film. Let's select something like Kodak Vision 250, and here I have a little bit of underexposure, so I'm just gonna bring some of it back up here. Let's enable the film developer, film compression. Again, let's color boost just a little bit, color density, and let me go back into my primaries. I'm not gonna add contrast here because I see that there is already a lot of contrast, so just gonna bring down the gamma and trying to bring back those informations. And I also forgot to add the range limiter. There we go. Now let's add some halation on this one. Let's do the 35mm no ramjet. Boom. Let's bring it amplification somewhere around 58. And let's also add some bloom at 8mm. And let's add some film grain. And now we have this really dreamy, like old school film color grading. And again, that was super, super simple. It really took even less than a minute this time. Let's go to the last one, which is the Apple ProRes. Let's just pop this in, and now instead of disable the tools, and instead of going to when you choose the camera, instead of going to Canon, let's go to Apple. We're just gonna say iPhone, it's the only option there, and Apple log. This is a little bit underexposed, and I think I did record this slightly underexposed, so let's bring back some of the information here. Let's go to our print. Let's do the 2383 codec, and let's add this analog range limiter. Then let's go to film. Let's add that, and that's fine. Let's try the 50D this time again. Then we go again to film developer and field compression. Let's boost our saturation. This is already looking so good. And then let's add some color density. Let's give the look with our primaries, the contrast and look that we want, and the adjustment that we want in our here. And this image is looking good. Now I know that I have all those highlights here with the tree, so the elevation here is gonna look very good as well. So let's go and add that. Let's do again the 35. There we go. And that's it. And that was our color grading. Now we're on the end of these videos, and thank you very much for watching this video. Don't forget that you can use this code if you want to have a 10% discount into your subscription into DEHANCER. And see you next time. Ciao, ciao.